Bravo Charlie, you're identified and you're going to pick up Stoney and go east, is that right?
That's correct. We're just following the convoy there, so we'll see where they're originating and follow along.
Okay, that's all approved. Just stay 4,800 or below.
48 below, Mike Bravo Charlie.
And that starting Saturday, all truck drivers will need to be vaccinated if they're crossing the border. Before new rules come into effect, truck drivers entering Canada will need to be vaccinated. But Wednesday night, the CBSA said Canadian truckers would be exempt. Less than 24 hours later, the federal government stepping in and saying that's not the case.
As the city begins to awaken, we are seeing cars on this early Monday morning take to the streets, many of them likely having breakfast, planning to go to the grocery stores today, doing all of these normal things, seemingly unaware of the absolute dependence they have on these truckers and the work they're doing. Truckers standing up not only for themselves and their own work, but for all against vaccine mandates.
But I think we need to apply these policies with a heavy dose of common sense. And common sense tells us that we are at the peak of supply chain constraints across North America, around the world, huge inflation, and we can't afford to lose potentially thousands of truckers on our roads bringing groceries up from the U.S.
All the trucks are flashing beacons. Yeah, stuff there.
If you want to see more reports on this incredible truck convoy that's going across Canada, go to convoyreports.com. Adam Soos here for Rebel News, and the truck convoy to Ottawa is making its way across Canada. It has been through 1.5 provinces and continues to grow. Many media outlets have maligned the cause of this movement, but ultimately they're standing up for Canadian values and Canadian principles and standing against vaccine mandates. We wanted to bring you a unique perspective as this convoy makes its way through Calgary, so we're going to be taking to the skies to do just that.
Bravo Charlie, you're identified and you're going to pick up Stoney and go east, is that right?
That's correct. We're just following the convoy there, so we'll see where they're originating and follow along.
Okay, that's all approved. Just stay 4,800 or below.
48 below, Mike Bravo Charlie.
They're very interesting to hear about significant delays on the way in from British Columbia. Questions remaining as to whether the delays at weight scales were simply a matter of procedure and volume, or if there were broader questions of political influence delaying at the scales. That remains to be seen, simply speculation at this point. We can see a few flashing police lights down below at the protest, but again, that is very common for these types of convoys, whether they be escorting them or simply maintaining the peace. Not too large a police presence, certainly, however. As the city begins to awaken, we are seeing cars on this early Monday morning take to the streets, many of them likely having breakfast, planning to go to the grocery stores today, doing all of these normal things, seemingly unaware of the absolute dependence they have on these truckers and the work they're doing. Truckers standing up not only for themselves and their own work, but for all against vaccine mandates.
I'm here with Matt Hassan, who took us up in his helicopter very graciously. He's the helicopter owner. If you could just tell us maybe a little bit about why you think that this truck convoy is so important, why you thought it was important for us to get up there and get a bit of a different perspective on it.
Absolutely. I own a construction company here in Calgary, and the city's been real good to us there, but supply chain has been a huge problem with us, and it seems to be getting worse. Respect that people have choices, and respect that these guys are able to make a living for themselves, as are all people who don't want a vaccine. So I support them all.
So K2, that was your very first helicopter flight. What did you think? What was the experience like?
Well, I have an issue with motion sickness, so there was a little bit of drops there that I was having some trouble with, but the shots turned out amazing, and I couldn't be happier that was my first time. It's awesome.
And what was it like for you seeing those trucks from out there? It's kind of a cool experience to see it from that different perspective. Really, like I said, adds some perspective. Sometimes when you're in it can seem overwhelming. This eagle eye view, what was that like for you as a videographer?
Well, it's really a one-word answer. It's just unique. It was awesome, and it was a cool thing that I've never been able to shoot before. So as a videographer, that's exactly what it was, unique.
So, Sid, your first time flying in a helicopter, your first time shooting out of a helicopter, it's something lots of videographers sort of dream of doing. What was the experience like?
Well, it felt a little bit like Apocalypse Now, if you guys are familiar with, but I won't get into too much detail on that end. But it was truly amazing, and like Kian said, it is a very unique experience. And when you're in moments like that, you have to do the best to be in the moment. Which is, I guess, a little difficult for us because this has to be in the moment, whereas we kind of have to be behind the camera. But if you just stop and stare and look out the window for a second, you realize just how beautiful the world is that we've created.
Well, we were just in the skies above the city as the convoy started to roll out. We are now on the ground, and there are cars and trucks as far as the eye can see, honking their horns and standing in solidarity with the truckers making their way to Ottawa, protesting vaccine mandates. We certainly had an exceptional experience flying over the city of Calgary, the city that we love so much, and covering these brave truckers as they make their way across Canada. Mocha will be embedded with the convoy all the way to Ottawa, so we're going to be covering the story like absolutely no one else and covering it in solidarity with these truckers who are standing against vaccine passports. For everyone out there for tuning in, I want to thank you so much. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. I know we certainly did. If you want to see more reports on this incredible truck convoy that's going across Canada, go to convoyreports.com.